Record. Hey everybody, so I'm Mackenzie. I see a familiar face out there. Hello, hello. We are going to be doing kitchen science experiments. And just a heads up, for these science experiments, I didn't go to the store to buy any of these supplies. These are all things that I had in my home. You might not have every single little thing that I have in my home, but there are other experiments in these books that I will talk about that will probably have supplies that you have available in your home. All right, so let's get started. Which one did I want to start with first? I think I want to start with this one first. Yes, okay. So all of these books are available at the Beaverton City Library, particularly at Murray Shoals. That's where I normally work. And the first one is called Mason Jar Science, 40 Slimy, Squishy, Super Cool Experiments. And it's by Jonathan Adolph. All right. And the first one I just want to show off just because it's a really simple, it's less of a science experiment and a way just to think about a really easy way to sort of bring science into your home. So this one is called At Home Museum, Display Your Finds from the Natural World. And I wanted to show this because in my home, I sometimes collect rocks, and you can see some shells in here. And there's another jar, here's another jar of rocks that I have. And I even have a jar of Oregon sand. All right. Challenge itself. So just when you are out and about, if you like to collect things, like I do, like rocks and shells and sand, put them in jars, and you can label your jars. You can label what's inside your jars. You can label where you got it from. Like if I were to add a label to this, I would probably add Oregon beach sand. If I remember correctly, it's from Coos Bay, and that I gathered it summer 2010. So that was the summer that I moved from Oregon to Vermont, and I wanted to take some of Oregon with me. All right, so you can label the place, you can label the date that you collected it. If you want to know more about like what types of rocks these all are, you can label them, all sorts of things. All right, and these are just things that I display in my home. So that is the first experiment. All right, we're gonna get into like more real experiments now. All right. This one is called Water Fireworks. The materials that you need. You need a mason jar. Also just use a glass. So here's my glass. And some water. So I poured water into a few different containers. I have water in my Beaverton water bottle. I'm just gonna pour it right into there. I'm gonna pour it pretty high so that you all can see. There we go. I'm gonna tilt my camera down so you all can see. Sure. All right, we got some water. We want a little bit of vegetable oil, and I have olive oil. But if you have canola oil, that could work. I'm just gonna put a little bit up at the top. And next, I'm gonna add some food coloring. So I've got some green food coloring. And I've got some blue food coloring. And I'm gonna add some, I think this is red. I'm gonna add some red coloring. All right. And it says to stir with a fork, but I have these straws, these biodegradable straws. So it says to stir with your straw. And I'm gonna bring this closer and see if you can see. You I've got, oh, you can kind of see it on my straw. I've got all these like different colored spots. Now it doesn't look the same as it did in the book. So we're going to review some of these experiments. So I see different colored circles, probably from the oil in my water, but it looks very, very different from the picture. I'll show you the picture again. So that's what the picture says it should look like, but ours looked very, very different. So I wouldn't call it a flop, but I wouldn't call it a super success either. Let's see what else we have. What's going on? It says food coloring doesn't dissolve in oil. So at first it sits on the surface of the water held by the oil, but then eventually it'll drop through the oil into the water below. And that's what created those kind of water fireworks. All right, next one. Ooh, this one's cool. I did a little bit of prep for this one. So this is called Berry Berry Ink. And I haven't tried this one yet either. Actually, I've not tried any of these science experiments. So let's see. Things that we want. We want some mason jars. We want some berries. Can be blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, raspberries, any kind of berries. And a spoon, a little bit of vinegar, some salt, a plastic straw, and some scissors. All right, let's see. And I've got dye all over my fingers now. Okay, so I didn't have any fresh berries, so right about this year, I usually do have fresh berries. But I do have some frozen berries. So about an hour ago, I took some frozen berries out of the bag and I put them in my jar. And so they are no longer frozen. We've got juicy, juicy berries. And it says to add a little bit of vinegar and a little bit of salt. Whoop. And that was my vinegar. And now I'm going to add just a little bit of salt. There we go. Ah! I'm going to stir it with my straw. And next, it says you can make a pen out of your straw by just cutting the end of it. I'm going to cut off the wet part. And then here is just sort of like a straight cut, but we want an angled cut. Let's see if I can get a good angled cut. It could be like that, or based on the photo, I think I want it to be even more angled. So I'm going to make it a little more angled. Yikes. There we go. And then I want to cut a slit. So on the pointy side right here, I'm going to cut a little bit up the straw. All right, let's see if this works for a pen. And I've got a little bit of scrap paper here. And we should be able to write with this. Let's take a peek. See my paper there? I've got my berry ink and my pen. Let's see if I can write anything. Look at that. Want to make sure to dip your pen back in your berry ink. Oh, look at that. Very cool. You've got some berry ink, and you didn't even have to buy anything from the store, just some berries and salt and vinegar. All right, let's see what we have next. I think I'm gonna save this one for later. I'm gonna pop this one down on the floor. And next book is called Candy Experiments. Blow it up, melt it into bubbling puddles, and find missing ingredients. It's by Loralee Leavitt. This has a lot of experiments you can do with candy. So if you have a lot of candy in your house, there's a lot of really cool things you can do. I don't have a lot of candy in my home, but I do have a few things. So I'm first gonna wash my hands. I got a lot of food dye on my hands. And just a heads up, when I'm cooking and I know I'm making a mess, I like to wear an apron. Similarly, if you are doing science experiments in your kitchen and you think you're gonna make a mess, you might wanna wear an apron. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Got my dinosaur apron. All right, let's see what we have for candy experiments for candy that Mackenzie has in her home. Let's see, first one is called How to Sink a Marshmallow. All right, let's see what it looks like. We've got marshmallows that are floating and marshmallows that are sinking. What you need: marshmallows, some water, cornstarch, and a spoon, which is optional. Okay, so we are going to get some water in. I think we're gonna use this one. Got lots of jars and glasses here with me today. I'm gonna put some water into my jar. There we go. And before I drop in a marshmallow, why don't you guess with your adult, what do you think the marshmallow is going to do? Do you think it's going to float or do you think it's going to sink? And I had a question. Can you use small and big marshmallows? That's a great question. I bet you could use either small marshmallows or big marshmallows, or both. But I have small marshmallows, the little tiny mini ones. All right. So if you've made your guess, if you think it will sink or float, let's take a look and see. Well, it is right on the surface of the water, so it is floating. The instructions say sprinkle cornstarch over a flat surface. Let's see what this is going to tell me to do. Cornstarch, done. Now put our marshmallow on the cornstarch and squish it. Ooh, I like squishing things. Squish, 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 squish. Try rolling it, smashing it down, smashing it to your hands. I guess it says the purpose of the cornstarch is that it keeps it from getting too sticky. All right, what do we think now? I have a marshmallow that looks very, very different. Do we think it's going to float or sink? I have a friend out there who says it's going to sink. Let's drop it in and see. This one is also floating. It says the more you squash a marshmallow, the lower it will float in the water. Let me see if I can squash one more. A lot. Squash, 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 squash. I didn't roll it. I should probably roll it. Squash, squash, squash. I'm like, try and squash it as much as I can. Oh, it's getting sticky. I better put it back in that cornstarch. All right. Squash, squash, squash. Float or sink? What do we think? I've squashed it a lot. That one sank to the bottom. Yes. All right, so you just need to squish it a lot, a lot, a lot. I see some clapping out there. Very exciting. And yes, feel free if you would like to experiment and see if there's a difference between The small marshmallows or the big marshmallows? All right. One other experiment in here had to do with marshmallows, and it's called Marshmallow Submarine. Marshmallows, as we already know, float in water. They are less dense than water when they're just like normal like this. So they just sit on top. But if you squish them a lot, then they become denser. All those like air pockets, you're getting rid of them when you squish it together. So it becomes denser and it sinks to the bottom. This one is called Marshmallow Submarine. Can you make a marshmallow submarine that sinks? Okay, this experiment calls for M&M's marshmallows. I don't have M&M's right now. Normally I don't. I don't keep a lot of like snackies in my home. But I do have chocolate chips because I really like making cookies. So the experiment says push one M&M into the side of a marshmallow until it sticks, and then add another M&M onto the other side until it sticks. And I was wondering if the same is going to be true for chocolate chips. So I've got a little marshmallow right here, and I'm going to smush a chocolate chip onto one side, and I'm going to smush a chocolate chip onto the other side. And here, see, I've got chocolate chip on both sides. Promise there are two. What do we think? Is it going to float or is it going to sink? I have a friend who says sink. Let's take a peek. Oh, it's going down. Oh my gosh. It took a little bit of time to go down. It kind of wanted to stay afloat, but it's kind of swimming around. Our smushed marshmallow is just sitting on the bottom of the jar, but this one's like, those chocolate chips are doing a great job. All right. Those marshmallows out of the way, get those chocolate chips out of the way. There might be a snack later. All right, so that was candy experiments. And this one, like I said, it has a lot more experiments. You might have heard of this one, floating letters, where you can get like M&Ms and Skittles and put it in a bowl of warm water and you can see the letters just float right off. It's got one that I thought was pretty cool was making boats out of Laffy Taffy. There was another one about how Three Musketeers are so light that they float, but what happens when you squish a Three Musketeers bar? Does it still float or does it sink? Some people say sink. All right, that is candy experiments. Now let's see, what was my best book? Oh, probably this one. Okay, so my next book is called The Kids Book of Simple Everyday Science. It's by Kelly Doudna. Amazing experiments, no lab required. Great, because I don't have a lab here in my home. In case we don't get to it, I just want to show you the fourth book that I picked up from the library. This one is called Science in a Jar. 35 plus experiments in biology, chemistry, weather, the environment, and more. And it's by Julia Garstecki. Again, all of these are available at the library. And I just want to show this one in case we didn't get to it because we've got 9 minutes left. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's see what's first. Ooh, this one, I'm excited for this one. Okay, this one is called Potato Plunger. How can an ordinary plastic straw pierce a potato? So that's what it looks like. There are straws coming out of that potato. Oh my goodness. All right, so what you need a potato. It says any potato that is longer than it is wide. So I grabbed 2 potatoes. I think this one's gonna work the best. It is very much taller than it is wide. So I've got a good potato there. And it asks for straight drinking straws. And again, I have these straight biodegradable straws. And you don't want it to have, like some straws have that bendy part, right? You don't want it to have any bendy part. So this one is just a straight straw. Let's see what it says. It says, hold the potato firmly in one hand and pick up a straw with your other hand and stab the potato hard with the straw. What happens? Let's see. Oh, it went through a little bit. Now it says you want to put your thumb over the end of the straw. And now let's do it again. I'm going to pick a part that I didn't already stab with my straw. It's going through. Can I get it all the way through? Let's see. Let's give me 3 more tries and see if I can get it all the way through the potato. Thanks. Almost. I think almost. That's once. I've got 2 more tries. Almost again. I got 1 more try. Oh, but you can see the hole. Look at that. Look at that hole. All right, 1 more time. I feel the pressure here. All right, I didn't get it all the way through. This was partially a bust, but look at that hole that the straw made. I would never expect a straw to be able to put a hole in a potato. Let's see what it says. It says a soft plastic straw is no match for a potato, but putting your thumb over one end traps air in the straw. The air pressure in the straw increases when the straw hits the potato. Air presses against the side of the straw, and that's what makes the straw stiff, and then it goes straight through the potato. Somebody asked, is the straw full of potato now? Great question. Take a look. That was, yes, it is. It is full of potato now. I don't know if you can see, but you definitely can't see through the straw, which means there's potato in there. All right. These are great questions. I love them. All right, we did potato plunger. Let's see what else we have. Ooh. I'm not going to do that one. That one's hard to see. Let's do this one. It says top and bottom. So you might have heard that oil floats on top of water, right? So here we have a layer of water and a layer of oil. But what happens when you add ice? All right, so for this one, I'm going to use this glass spice jar that I kept. I've been keeping so many jars. And we're going to put a layer of water on the bottom. Got a good layer of water there. Maybe too good, but that's okay. I'll make it work. And then I want a layer of oil. And again, I'm going to use olive oil. You can use canola oil. I'm just going to make a nice, good size layer on top. At first it tries to like float down and then it comes right back up. So now you can see that separation of water and oil, right? Now let's see. I'm gonna grab a piece of ice out of my freezer. While I'm doing that, why don't you make a guess? Is it going to float on top of the oil? Is it going to sink to the bottom of the oil? Or is it going to sink to the bottom of the water? All right, see what you think. Ooh, let's see. We have a guess. Sink to the bottom of the oil, middle of the jar. All right, for those of you who maybe missed, I've got a jar. I've got water in this bottom half. I have olive oil in this top half. And I have an ice cube. I have another guess, top jar. Oh, we're guessing all over the place. I love it. So think about if you think this ice cube is going to float. And this is kind of a big ice cube. I might add some more oil just so that we know where this ice cube decides to go. Whoop. All right. Will it float on top of the oil? Will it sink to the bottom of the oil? Or will it sink to the bottom of the water? Also think about what your ice cubes do when you put your ice cube in water. My friend thinks that it's gonna overflow. I'm gonna take the risk. I'll wait for my computer a little bit. All right. I think she is right. It is gonna overflow. I'm okay with that. I'm ready. It's floating on top of the oil. So there's a little bit, there's like this much space between the ice cube. Oh, it's sinking. It's starting to sink. It's heading down. Where is that ice cube gonna go? Oh my goodness. It wasn't done yet. Let's see. All right. It is holding pretty steady. There's a little bit of it hanging in the water and most of it in the oil. I'm gonna wipe off some of this oil. See if I can get it a little bit closer to my computer camera so that you can see. Didn't want to stay on top of the oil though. All right. Well, I'm so glad that we saved this last messy experiment for the end. Just wiping off my hands, moving my camera. So just a reminder of the books that I used today. The kids' book of Simple Everyday Science by Kelly Doudna, and Science in a Jar by Julia Garstecki. And I had Candy Experiments for those marshmallow ones by Loralee Leavitt. And last one, which is sitting all the way on my floor, Mason Jar Science by Jonathan Adolph. All right, so it is about 3 o'clock. I did want to leave the last couple minutes open for questions. So I am going to let you unmute yourselves in case you have any questions about the science experiments or any questions at all. If not, feel free if you want to log out. Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for joining.
I think all the experiments were cool.
Oh, you thought all of them were cool? Did you have a favorite one?
Yes, it was the one that we just did.
Oh, with the oil and the water and the ice cube?
Yeah, but guess what? I was like thinking of the experiment, so you could like get a jar and then put water in, and then well, you know, cornstarch, and then you could put vinegar in, and then stir it.
I want to show you one last one that we didn't get to today. And if you really, really liked this last one, then you might like this one too. So it's called Tower of Liquids, Create a Layered Liquid Rainbow. And it gives you the liquids in order that you want to pour them in, because you're going to have your densest liquids sinking to the bottom.
Yeah,
Yes.
because they weigh more
Yes.
for the same amount.
So I was like thinking in my head, yeah, you got it, Kelly. And I had like most or all of these, but honey, light corn syrup, and that might be important. I don't have light corn syrup. I have dark corn syrup.
Mom?
Hold on, let's mute it.
There's milk, dishwashing soap, water that you might want to tint with food coloring in case you want to show that differentiation, and vegetable oil. And cool thing that is like related to this experiment that we did is that you can then collect around your home a few different small objects to float on the layers, because some of them might stick around in different layers depending on the object's density. So for example, it had a small screw or a bolt, a grape, ping pong ball, a small rubber ball, a large paper clip, or small toys like Legos or things. Just remember, these have to be things that you don't mind that they get wet or oily or messy or anything like that. So if you really like this experiment, I'm not going to pick it up because it's still pretty overflowy. You might like that one. All right. just a reminder, you can put holds on any of these books through the countywide catalog, and you can pick them up through our BCL to go curbside service over at the main library. I'm going to be back at the branch either this afternoon or tomorrow, and I will return those books. And then they'll be ready to check out in just a few days since we quarantine everything. So I am going to put my email in the chat in case anybody has any questions, whether about BCL to go or about the experiments that we did, about the books. Normally, during pre-COVID times, I did a number of like science-based programs at the Murray Shoals branch. So if you have any questions about doing science experiments with your kids or with your teens, feel free to ask me questions. I'm by no means a pro at any of this. So yeah, it's just a fun way to get kids to explore the world around them, right? All right, well, thank you so much again for joining us, and I hope that you learned something new today. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Frankenby.
Bye. I hope you have fun.
Thank you, you too.